Matchup with the Duke Blue Devils as this new era of Stanford athletics continues here at Klein Field and Sunken Diamond. And Stanford will start up their ACC home slate. Cardinal are coming off of a really good weekend. They went out to the East Coast and they won 2 of 3 in Chapel Hill against the number 4 North Carolina Tar Heels. Right down the road on Tobacco Road in the Research Triangle in Durham. Duke won 2 of 3 against Cal. So both these teams 2-1 coming into tonight in the ACC. Tim Swartz with you, and well, for Stanford, an excellent start. The best start since 2021, 12-3. Cardinal last year was a little bit of a hiccup. They missed the NCAA tournament after 3 straight trips to the College World Series. And David Esker and company trying to get back on track as Stanford takes the field. And we'll give you the starting lineups, first of all, for the Duke Blue Devils. They're 12-6. They swept a midweek series with George Mason after Friday night. They got run ruled against Cal, but then won 6-2 and then 7-3 Saturday and Sunday. They beat George Mason 6-3 in their 2 midweek games. One thing about Duke, they are 5th in the country in terms of walks. It's not the flashy stat, but they get on base a lot. Wallace Clark leads things off, the shortstop, who's batting .393. Speaking of walks, he has a .575 on base percentage. Jake Berger's the number 2 hitter. He's at second base. Lefty, who's batting .293. Ben Miller, third baseman. He bats third. A.J. Gracia, very good defensive center fielder. He is the number 4 batter in this lineup that goes switch hitter, lefty-righty, and then lefty-righty for the rest of the way. Tyler Albright, left fielder, batting .344, 4 home runs, 13 RBI. He's slugging .688 for the Duke Blue Devils. Ben Rounds, .267 batter, 2 home runs, 9 RBI. He's the designated hitter. He bats 6th. Macon Winslow, .415 on base percentage out of the number 7 slot. He's the catcher. Jake Hyde plays first base. He's got a .404 on base percentage. And Kyle Johnson, that's 9th in right field. Defensively for Stanford, Tatum Marsh is in left. Charlie Bates is the center fielder, and Brady Reynolds in right. Trevor Haskins, the third baseman. Timo Becerra at short. Jeremy Nadai is the second baseman. Rintaro Sasaki at first. Charlie Somm is the catcher for Matt Scott. He has been the Friday starter for Stanford this year from Reading, Connecticut. Big kid, 6'7", 245 righty, junior. He's made a lot of starts at Stanford. It's his 31st start with the Cardinal. 3-0 record this year, a 3.43 ERA, 23 strikeouts in 21 innings. Opponents are batting .244 against Scott. He started on Friday night, gave up 6 runs, 5 earned at number 4 North Carolina. Stanford really struggled to start that game at the Tar Heels. Had a no decision last year. He had a 4-10 record. That was the bad news for Matt Scott. The good news was 103 strikeouts in 88 innings. It was just about keeping the ball in the zone. Just 10 walks in 21 innings. Pretty good for college baseball for Matt Scott. He hasn't given up a home run yet either. We're starting a little bit late. Wallace Clark in the box. Senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, takes the first pitch off the inside for a ball. 6-11 on the first pitch. Starting a little bit late. It had rained all day today, and there are some not nice-looking clouds that are about to make their way over Sunken Diamond. This one's drilled into right center field, coming in, and a diving catch from Reynolds. What a jump from Brady Reynolds. And a highlight reel play starts out this 3-game series. Now, Wallace Clark, .575 on base percentage, getting him out. He's pretty big for Stanford. Adam Dowdy will call the balls and strikes today. A.J. Lestiglo is the first base umpire. Brandon Henson, the second base umpire. Matthew Schaefer, the third base umpire. Jake Berger is a grad student from Boston, Massachusetts. .481 on base percentage as he's first pitch swinging, drills it straight back. Scott does a nice job movement inside out on lefties. like a lot of pitchers that are 6'7", has a natural arm side run on the two-seamer. High with a fastball, and it's 1-1. First to 3. Tomorrow there's no weather. Sunday there could be rain. It'll be tomorrow at 2 o'clock on the West Coast, 5 o'clock in Durham, North Carolina. I was looking up, it's in the mid-70s in Durham tomorrow. 1-2. I'm saying it was raining all day. It was drizzling maybe 15 minutes before first pitch. And there are some dark clouds making their way in from the Pacific Ocean here to Stanford. And hopefully don't have any rain in them. 1-2. High and away. Try to throw a changeup. Shift with 3 players to the right of second base. And they kind of play him the other way in center and left. The 2-2. Ooh, nice frame job from Somm, and David Esker and company on the Stanford bench thought that was strike 3. Here's the payoff pitch. It's hit off to the left and out of play. One thing, too, to watch out with this Duke team. I mean, they draw a lot of walks. They work the count. Matt Scott, the second payoff pitch on the way with an airplane going overhead. I feel like we're at Shea Stadium. High fly ball. Will it stay in play for Marsh? It will, in foul territory, makes the catch. 2 away. Now Stanford was not ranked before last weekend, and taking 2 out of 3 North Carolina got them up to number 17. Duke's receiving votes. And again, this is the first ever ACC home game for Stanford. And this league is just loaded. Clemson and Florida State in the top 5, Wake in the top 15. 13 of the 16 teams in this league, including Duke, are at least receiving votes. Ben Miller, grad student from Durham, North Carolina, batting .296. He's hit 10 home runs already this year in 18 games. First pitch is taken. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Yeah, Miller, he is slugging .732. He has 10 home runs in just 71 at-bats. A home run every 7 at-bats. I mean, I think that's what Barry Bonds did in 2001. 2-strike pitch, swing and a miss. 1-2-3 first inning, and the side is retired. So a strong start for Matt Scott. After a half inning, it's Duke nothing. Stanford coming to bat. Duke scoreless in the top of the first. Here's the lineup for Stanford as they try to make it 3-1 in the ACC. First ever ACC home game for the Cardinal. As Stanford lineup is like this: 322 batter. Trevor Haskins, the senior third baseman, leads things off. Brendan Larson's the number 2 hitter. He's the DH, batting .355. Rintaro Sasaki has a .414 on base percentage. First baseman, bats third. Charlie Somm's the number 4 cleanup hitter. The number 4 hitter also. He's a catcher, batting .255. Jimmy Nadai is the 5th batter. He's at second base. Brady Reynolds, right fielder, bats 6th. Timo Becerra, .339 hitter of the 7 slot to shortstop. Charlie Bates, center fielder, freshman, and then Tatum Marsh, a freshman right fielder, who had the excellent play in right field. That's the lineup for Stanford. The pitcher is Aiden Weaver, who's making his first weekend start. That's fouled off, and it's 1-1. Weaver 6'5", 230 from Jameson, Pennsylvania. Defensively behind him, Tyler Albright in left, AJ Gracia in center, and Kyle Johnson's in right. Ben Miller's the third baseman. Wallace Clark is short. Jake Berger at second. Jake Hyde is the first baseman. So a Jake right side of the infield. Lincoln Winslow's the catcher for Weaver. 2-0 with a 3.86 ERA. It's his seventh appearance already. There's a soft fly ball into center field. It'll hang up for Gracia, and Haskins is out number one. Weaver, in his career, has just thrown 50 innings. 6.48 ERA. He's a junior. This year, 930 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 6 walks. Midweek, he threw 3 strong innings against George Mason. And it's just his 7th career start. Brennan Larson, junior from the Sacramento area. 355 batter into the box. First pitch swinging, rolls it over. Right side, Hyde will take it himself. 2 outs. Stanford, as a team coming into this weekend, it's interesting. 61st in the country at a 297 in terms of home runs, but that's 9th best in the 16-team ACC. 2 schools that do not have baseball in the ACC, SMU and Syracuse. So Stanford will play 8 ACC series. They'll play Cal next week at home. First pitch is a strike to Sasaki. Freshman from Japan, big time. Mentioned Barry Bonds earlier, about a home run every 7 at-bats for the number 3 batter, Miller, for Duke. Well, it's a Barry Bonds shift for Sasaki. 317 batter. And Bonds, one of the many all-time greats who played here at Sunken Diamond, who was a member of the Arizona State Sun Devils. Weaver moves and works very quickly. 0-2 to Sasaki. And Tara Sasaki was actually just talking to the home plate umpire, Adam Dowdy, about, hey, can you please call time so I'm ready? And Weaver's rocket and ready to go. Fastball off the outside. And he saw Sasaki ask for a time, but one thing I like about Weaver is he gets the ball and he's ready to go. Don't worry about the pitch clock with him. Well, that was Winslow trying to really frame that one. Sasaki fighting back. It was 0-2, now 2-2, now 3-2. And Sasaki had to fight off an 0-2 pitch. And Weaver, who is working quickly, and he's going to lose him. An arm side, 4 straight pitches, and great eye from Sasaki, who's not hit a home run yet. He does have a .414 on base percentage. He has walked quite a bit. Stanford as a team doesn't walk a ton. Pretty average in terms of walks in the country. They're second to last in the ACC. The ACC is just such a strong league that in some ways you kind of have to look at the national ranks more than the ACC ranks. I think Stanford's done really well as played defense this year, and they already have 2 shutouts. First pitch to Charlie Soms is a strike on the outside, a fastball. Soms, senior, catcher, batting .255, 3 home runs, 10 RBI. Flags are limp here at Sunken Diamond. You expect this park to play a little big tonight with just kind of a heavy air. 0-2 to Som, who has done a great job behind the dish for Stanford this season. He started all 16 games for the Cardinal. In fact, really, the 3 through 6 batters have all started every game. Sasaki, Som, Nadai, and Reynolds. Duke, they've never played Stanford. Played on the West Coast twice before. They played in 1990 at the Kingdome. They faced Washington, and then 2015, they played at Cal. 0-2 pitch. That was just off. Again, Winslow trying to frame that. And again, the home plate umpire, Mr. Dowdy, saying no. 1-2 pitch off the outside. A slider. It's 2-2. Stanford, one of the things Stanford does not do too much is they don't steal too many bases. Stanford has 2 stolen bases this season, and that is the second least in the country. We'll do 2-2 again. Just Dartmouth, Columbia, and Valparaiso have 1 steal. Stanford has 2. Off the outside, and 3-2 count with 2 outs. Sasaki will be off with the pitch. Jimmy Nadai, the Australian, on deck. Some international flavor to the Stanford team. Sasaki from Japan. At first, off he goes. 3-2 pitch, missed. Back-to-back walks. And both times, Weaver was way ahead in the count. Jimmy Nadai, who has been a mainstay for Stanford over his career, has made an impact since he came to the farm. 78th start at Stanford, 10 home runs in 92 total games. Early meeting at the mound for Duke. Jimmy Nadai. Something out of nothing. I mean, it was 2 outs, an 0-2 count to Sasaki. Stanford now has runners at first and second. Nice off-speed pitch in there for a strike. Well, one thing, too, when you're kind of talking to pitching coaches at various professional or collegiate levels, sometimes they really like a pitcher to go to an off-speed pitch after they have some control problems. Nadai, chopper towards short. Tough play for Clark, and he goes across the diamond in time. And Nadai, who runs well, he's retired. So 2 left on base after a pair of walks. After 1, no score here at Stanford. No score after an inning. Duke went down 1-2-3 in the first. AJ Gracia, the center fielder, freshman All-American last year, into the box. Hitting 167 this year. Last year, he hit 305 with 14 home runs and 58 RBI. Helped Duke get to the NCAA tournament. He had the Duke all-time freshman home run record with 14 last year. 1-0, Gracia. Hails from New Jersey. Foul tipped. Gracia, 2 home runs this year. Doesn't have a double or a triple yet, which is a bit odd. Fouled off to the left. It's 1-2. 1-2 pitch from the 6'7" righty Scott. Nice off-speed pitch, and Gracia fouls it back. No, I'll say yes, he did. Now, check swing from Gracia. It is only 18 games into the season, only 3 games in the conference play. So Gracia, those numbers that are uncharacteristic of him after that breakout freshman year will improve. Same pitch, same check swing. I think the Stanford bench and I think maybe the Duke bench during that first inning both probably in agreement that it's kind of a tight zone from Adam Dowdy. Here's the 3-2. Every single, they went fast, they went away again, but every single time it was a checked swing and a fastball off the outside that was just off the outside. Taylor Albright comes up, junior from Greensboro, North Carolina. Stanford women's basketball team was just there for the women's basketball tournaments. Albright batting .344, 4 home runs, 13 RBI. He's slugging .688. He has 3 triples for the left fielder. First pitch is right down the El Camino Real for a strike. He hit .312 as a freshman. A little bit of a step back last year. He only hit .222. But Albright back into form. Throw over to first. Gracia is certainly a threat to run. And I mentioned Stanford as a team has 2 stolen bases. Gracia by himself has 3. It's not really a Duke team that runs too much, but they run a little bit. Stanford doesn't run at all. Huge hole to the right side, too, for Albright. Tried to go the other way as he fouls it towards the Stanford clubhouse down the first baseline. 0-2. Fastball high to Albright. 1-2. And first to 3 between these two teams. It's kind of in a way unbelievable they never played before. Now Duke hasn't had the baseball tradition that Stanford has had. It's like they've met in the NCAA tournaments, and for baseball, unlike most people follow the basketball tournament, which is a national tournament, but most other NCAA tournaments, whether it's soccer, baseball, softball, volleyball, are much more regionalized. And that's guessing that's a big reason Stanford and Duke have never faced off. The other thing too is that for years, Stanford had a pretty stagnant non-conference schedule. It was Fullerton, who they played this year. They played midweek games against the Bay Area teams, Cal, San Francisco, Santa Clara, St. Mary's, UC Davis, Sac State, San Jose State. 1-2. Fouling away. Texas, which became a yearly game, Vanderbilt. And Stanford very, very rarely, almost never before David Esker took over from Mark Marquis, would ever play in one of those kind of like Major League Baseball tournaments at stadiums or spring training facilities where you play different teams. So in some ways it's unbelievable, but in some ways it makes sense that Stanford and Duke had never played before. 1-2 pitch. Drilled deep right center field. Long run for Reynolds, and he catches it in front of the 375 sign. There's out number 1 of the second. I say drilled. It's not the first time off the bat it looked like a ball would go a lot further than it ended up going. I think it's just it's heavy air tonight with the moisture and the humidity, and it's cold. Well, last time I checked, it was in the 50s, the low 50s. And 52, it should get into the 40s. And overnight, it'll get maybe even in the 30s here at Stanford, in the high 30s, which, if you're not familiar with this area, is very cold for here. Ben Rounds, grad student, DH, batting .267 in the box. Like with all other Duke players, the average isn't what you need to look at. You look at the on-base percentage, it's .429. Rounds, Harvard grad transfer. Swing and a miss. Great throw down to second. They got him. What a seed from Song. And a nice tag at the base. And Gracias out number 2. That's the first time he's been caught stealing this year. As Som just whipped that one to second base. And there's 2 outs. So Rounds, first team all Ivy League. 1 strike pitch. That is kind of cue ball and ends up foul. Would have been a tough play for Haskins at third. Rounds hit .403 last year, 8 home runs and 34 RBI. Career .318 hitter coming into this year. Rounds. The Ivy League did not have sports in the 2021 season, and Rounds ended up graduating from Harvard, and that year did not count against his eligibility. High and away. And Duke, they've entered the Supers 3 times, 18, 19, and 23. Have not been to a College World Series since 1961. They have not won an ACC championship since 1961. They won a tournament championship, 21, and then last year as well. Ball rolled up the middle. Tough play. Becerra made it look easy. Now defense helped Stanford in the second. And Duke is retired. Reynolds, Becerra, and Bates, their first licks coming up next. Stanford and Duke scoreless through 1.5. A new pitcher for Duke. Weaver goes an inning scoreless, walked 2. James Talon, 6'5", 195 junior from Arlington in Northern Virginia to Yorktown High School. 0-1 record, 4.70 ERA. He's made 3 starts this year, but all of them have been kind of shorter starts. He hasn't thrown more than 3 innings. 11 strikeouts is the good news, and 7 2/3 is outstanding. 9 walks is the bad news. It's his 3rd year at Duke. 52nd career appearance, his 5th start. His first ever start was against Florida State at the ACC championship game last year. That was his first career start. ACC will have a 16-team tournament. All 16 make it this year. It's Brady Reynolds, the sophomore from Bakersfield, takes a strike. Reynolds batting .364, 5 home runs, 16 RBI. It'll be kind of similar to a basketball tournament. Top 4 teams will get byes to the quarterfinals. Teams 5 through 8 will go to the second round. It'll be single elimination. Stanford ends the season at NC State. The ACC tournament is in Durham, which is very close to NC State and Raleigh, so I imagine Stanford will kind of probably just hang out there for a few days in May. Cardinal will also go to Boston College and Clemson, Virginia. Fouled back by Reynolds. It's 2-2. ACC series, they'll host the home Duke, Cal, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Wake Forest. So 10 series in total Stanford will miss 5 teams in the ACC, including Florida State, who's in the top 5. High with a fastball, and it's 3-2. Stanford will also have, in May, mid-May, he'll play Grand Canyon in a non-conference series. Swing and a miss. Reynolds swings through the payoff pitch. Up comes Timo Becerra. .339 batter, no home runs, 12 RBI for the shortstop, who has been a rock at Stanford. It's his 4th year here at Stanford. Becerra, excellent defensive shortstop. 79th start on the farm tonight. 8 home runs. Or pardon me, 2 home runs in his career, batting .309 in his career. 1-0 to Becerra. Becerra had RBI double at Duke, or at North Carolina. Can't get those schools crossed up. Apologies to all of our friends in the Research Triangle. 2-0. Fouled off. Duke, North Carolina, NC State are all very close to each other. And it's interesting that Duke, first 2 series in the ACC this year, they host Cal and they come out here to face Stanford. 2 of the new members, and the only 2 new members in baseball. 2 and 1 lined off to the rights. David Esker took over in 2018, went to 3 College World Series, 21, 22, and 23. Stanford's been to 20 in their history. 2-2, swing and a miss. Becerra caught fishing and a high fastball, and there's 2 outs. Up comes Charlie Bates, freshman from Palo Alto. Center fielder, batting .250. Mentioned Stanford has 2 stolen bases. Both of them are from Charlie Bates. First pitch, fastball on the outside. Talon looks very sharp. He's now got 13 strikeouts in 8 1/3 innings. Just off the outside. Bates went to Palo Alto High School, which is, I mean, I don't know, it's across the street from El Camino Real, from Sunken Diamond. I'd say a half a mile here, and then maybe not even that, maybe a quarter of a mile. 1-1 pitch off the outside. He's got the 2 stolen bases. He's got great speed, 3 triples. Second most in the ACC. That's a lot of triples, 15 games. Chases a high fastball, and it's 2-2. Fouled back by Bates. We'll do the 2-2 again. It's kind of unreal, too. I mentioned Stanford's never played Duke. They've never played Virginia, which is shocking because the Cavaliers, 2015 national champion in baseball, have been in so many supers and so many big spots over the years. 2-2. Chopped to the right side. Good hop for Hyde. He steps on first, just beating Bates, who again showing that speed. It ends up being a 1-2-3 inning. After 2, no score. Matt Scott's first pitch of the 3rd inning is a strike, a fastball on the outside corner. 0-1 counts to the catcher for Duke and their number 7 batter, Macon Winslow. Big-time recruit, one of the biggest catching recruits in the country when he signed with Duke last year. Hails from North Carolina, great state for baseball. It's 0-2 to Winslow, who's batting .260, .415 on base percentage. Scott's faced the minimum. He walked Gracia in the second, but Gracia was caught stealing. High and in to Winslow. One and two. That just misses. Scott, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, no hits, 2 strikeouts, caught. Winslow looking. Jake Hyde, grad student from Darien, Connecticut. Fouls off the first pitch, and it's 0-1. Hyde is batting .195, first baseman. But again, it's not like a broken record with the walk stuff. I read Moneyball when I was in high school. I'm a nerd. I grew up around here. He's got a on-base percentage over 400, despite a batting average under 200. That means he walks a lot. Hyde hits this ball into deep right center field, and then that one's a diving attempt. It's off the glove of Reynolds. Hyde rounding second, headed for third, and he's in. That's a triple for Jake Hyde, and that's the first hit of the game for either team here in the top of the third. It was almost a diving catch from the freshman Reynolds again. He led off the game with a diving catch, but that time just couldn't get the hit off his glove. And I thought Hyde just drilled that ball, but it is very hard to hit a home run at night, on a cold night, especially here at Sunken Diamond, particularly in between the power alleys. Kyle Johnson comes up. Leesburg in Northern Virginia. Sophomore, corners in for Stanford. First pitch taken low and in. Johnson's batting .222 this season. He was a two-way player last year. He was a freshman utility All-American. The last time that Duke had one was 2010, a guy by the name of Marcus Stroman. Checked his swing. It's 2-0. Well, with first base open and a 2-0 count against Johnson, who is dangerous, he's hit 3 home runs this year. Kind of wonder if Scott will be content to kind of not give in here. Sasaki at first is way in there, and it's 3-0. Again, with first base open, set up the double play if you walk Johnson here. Only the third inning, but Stanford isn't the highest scoring team in the country, and they are a team that has played quite a bit of low scoring games. They've shut out 2 opponents, including North Carolina. Won a game 2-0, 6-3 this year. 3-1, and that one's chopped away. Nice job by Scott to climb back into this one. And Stanford won on Friday 13-9. They got run ruled on Saturday 11-1, and then defeated North Carolina 7-0 on Sunday. Payoff pitch. Runner at third, one out. Johnson just wants to put it in play. Called strike three. Well, that one was a fastball right down the middle. One thing, that's the third strikeout. There's 2 outs now. The runner at third. Clark, the leadoff batter, comes up. One thing I think that might have distracted Johnson, to be honest, and it kind of distracted me, was the middle infielders came up and the whole infield was in once they went to 3-2. I think if Johnson would have hit a ground ball towards short or second, unless it was sharply hit, it would have been an RBI. All right, so Balls Clark, leadoff batter, lined out to a diving Reynolds in right field in the first. 0 for 1. First pitch fastball, strike called. This one's drilled right side. It is going to roll to the wall. RBI, extra base hit. Stopping at second is Clark. It is an RBI double. I didn't know if he'd go try for 3. And Duke strikes first in this ACC battle. He lead 1-0. Well, Reynolds was way off the line in right field, and there was no problems at all there for the Blue Devils to have that one that time drop in there. First pitch on the way to Berger, called strike. Berger 0 for 1. Flew out in foul territory in the first inning. RBI double for Clark, who's at second. 1-0 Blue Devils. That is right through the wickets of Somm. Easily to third. Goes Schaefer, or pardon me, goes Clark. And that's a wild pitch. So Berger, it's a little bit easier on the grad transfer from Harvard. At 288, 1 home run, 23 RBI last year. 293, 2 home runs, 17 RBI already this year. Second baseman. High and away, Scott is starting to kind of lose his command. This game has grinded to a halt. In the minimum, we're phased through 7 for Scott, double by Hyde, or triple, pardon me, for Hyde. Johnson struck out, and then Clark, the double, has given Duke their first run, and then the first run of the series. Three and 1 now to Berger. Drilled foul. Watch out. That was off the netting. If there were no netting, there's some little kids up there. One of them was going to have to jump out of the way. That's why they have that protective netting that goes all around here at Sunken Diamond. They've got the grassy knolls on first base and third base lines. One of the unique things about Sunken Diamond, there is so much foul ground here. Some people have told me, I haven't been to all 299 college baseball stadiums, but I was told this might be the most foul ground of any college baseball stadium. Ground ball. Ooh, that took a bad hop. Becerra, though, snared it and throws it to first in time. That last hop went a little bit high on Becerra, and a nice job to retire Berger. So it's a run on 2 hits, 1 left on base. Duke strikes first in this 3-game set. Blue Devils 1-0. Go to the bottom of the third. Tatum March, the freshman from San Jose, into the box, ready to go in the number 9 slot for Stanford. Cardinal trail 1-0 against Duke. First game of 3. Marsh wears the first one. He's been hit now by 7 pitches this year. That's the 7th time he's been hit by a pitch. It's just kind of weird. It's, top 5 in the ACC in terms of hit by pitch. And Marsh, the athletic left fielder from the South Bay, is at first. Speaking of from the South Bay, San Jose native, Trevor Haskins, first pitch swinging, fouls it away. It's 0-1. Haskins batting .322, 5 home runs, 18 RBI. Flew out to Gracia in center to lead things off for Stanford. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, it's 0-2. First ever home ACC game for the Stanford Cardinal. It's interesting, I saw something on Reddit, which means it's 100% true. It's never incorrect. High and away, it's 1-2. That there's only been 2 ACC national champions. Wake Forest, I think in 1955 and then 2015 it was Virginia. Stanford won 2 national championships, 87 and 88, before they joined the league. Miami won 4 national championships before they joined the league. Cal won 2 national championships. So it's a lot of teams with national championships in the ACC, but just 2 of them won while in the ACC, if that makes sense. 2-2, off the outside, 3-2. Maybe the most unbelievable thing about that post was Florida State's been to 24 College World Series, and they came close so many times, and they never won a national championship. Payoff pitch, fouled away into the parking lot. Hopefully it doesn't hit my car. Talk about being close. I mean, Stanford, Baseball America, I think, named them the team of the 2000s. They didn't win a national championship in the 2000s. 3 times in the first 4 years in the 2000s, Stanford made it to the final series in Omaha and just could never win it all. Mark Marquis and company came close so many times. So much heartbreak for Stanford after those back-to-back national championships in 87 and 88. Haskins in the box. Marsh at first ran with the last 3-2 pitch. This time he doesn't run. Fly ball, right center field. It hangs up. Gracia calls for it and makes the grab. There's 1 out. Speaking of Mark Marquis, I remember talking to David Esker before his first game as the head coach here at Stanford back in 2018. And I asked him, what would be different between you and 9? They called Mark Marquis around these parts. And he said, well, I played for him and I was an assistant coach for him, so probably not too much. And the tradition of winning has continued here at Stanford. 3 College World Series appearances in a row. It had been a long time. 2008 was the last College World Series appearance for the Cardinal before they went back in 2021. Nice changeup from Talon. 0-1. Marsh at first. Talon grounded out to Hyde, first baseman in the first. Again, I give Winslow credit. He's trying like heck to frame some of these and just not getting the calls. 1-1. Off goes Marsh. That was a hit and run as he was looking in, and it's fouled back by Larson. Stanford, that's the second time Marsh has been in motion. Marsh's fellow freshman Bates, the only Stanford player with a steal this year. He's got 2. Bates has 2. Marsh has been caught stealing. That looked like a hit and run the way that he looked in towards the box. 1-2 pitch. Rolled towards second. The toss to second for one. Clark with the throw to first in time. 4-6-3, double play, and the inning is over. So Stanford gets a leadoff hit by pitch from Marsh and ends up getting erased on the double play. Duke 1, Stanford nothing. Let's go to the fourth. Ben Miller leads things off in the top of the fourth inning. Duke 1, Stanford nothing. Miller swings through the Matt Scott changeup. Miller 0 for 1, struck out in the first. 10 home runs in the first 18 games for Miller. Home run every 7.1 at-bats. One of the top sluggers in the ACC. A big shift for the Cardinal as that one misses low and away. It's 1-1. 2-out RBI double from Clark in the third inning. That's the only score of this game. Miller went to Penn. I have another Ivy League transfer on this team. That's a fair ball. It's dropped, it's thrown, and not much of a chance there for Haskins. That's a hit. And Miller, the slugging player who is, believe it or not, in his 7th year of college baseball. In 2020, no, 6th year, pardon me, is at first base. Miller, a couple steals this year, so he's a threat to run. Gracia walked in the second. Only one walk so far from Matt Scott. And again, Duke, one of the best teams in the country, 5th in the country heading into the night in terms of walks drawn. They lead the ACC. So one of the big things with facing the Blue Devils is keep the ball in the strike zone. Just as I say that, it's 2-0. Two-0 pitch. Fly ball, shallow right field. Tough play coming in. The catch from Reynolds. Thought about throwing it to first. Miller was a bit off of first. Nice running catch, and there's one out. Tyler Albright comes up. Albright Jr. from Greensboro, North Carolina. Left fielder swings through the first pitch. 0-1. It's a big weekend for Stanford. They made a statement with how they've started this year at 12-3. Coming off of that 2 out of 3 against North Carolina, but against a Duke team that is very good. Receiving votes in one of the polls. It's now 0-2. I say one of the polls because there's 5 respected college baseball polls. It's not just coaches and media. There's coaches, media, Writers Association, Baseball America, Division I, baseball.com. So a lot of different ways to be ranked. 2-strike pitch, low and away. It's 1-2 to Albright. Flew out to left in his first AB. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. 4th strikeout for Scott. There's 2 outs. Second rounds steps into the box. I wouldn't be shocked to see Miller go in motion here. One thing that is good for Rounds, the grad transfer for Harvard, is the lefty has a big hole on the right side. First pitch just missed on the inside, and it's 1-0. As I say, I wouldn't be surprised to see Miller go Rounds. Batting .267. He's a good hitter. Isn't necessarily a power hitter. Has 2 home runs, though. Swings through a high fastball. He was looking to smash that one. Nice block by Psalm. Rounds had a .506 on base percentage last year for the Harvard Crimson. First team All Ivy. On 1 pitch, lined foul, 2-2. Swing and a miss. Oh, Scott, 5 strikeouts already. He was fired up. The leadoff singles left to first. And Stanford needs to get something going offensively. They don't have a hit yet as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Another new pitcher for Duke. It's their 3rd pitcher after an inning from Weaver. Talon went 2 scoreless innings. And Gabe Nard wearing number 4. You don't normally see that for a pitcher. Welcome into the game. 2.70 ERA, 11 strikeouts, 3 walks in 16 2/3 innings. He has a 1-0 record. Last appearance was against George Mason midweek. 2 strikeouts and 2 scoreless innings. And Rentaro Sasaki looking for that first collegiate home run. He had a lot of them in Japan during his high school days. Came to Stanford with so much hype. And a lot of expectations. Never easy. 2-2. Here's the pitch. Off the outside. And it's a full count to Sasaki. He walked in the first inning. He was the opposite of this at-bat in terms of had to fight through it. Sasaki called strike 3. Oh, that did not look like a strike. It's been kind of a tight zone, and that looked like an off-speed pitch that might have curled around the plate. So Sasaki is the first victim of Gabe Nard. I don't know if you can call him the Nard dog from like Andy Bernard would from The Office. Charlie Somm steps into the box. He walked in the first inning. Somm and Sasaki walks. Marsh hit by pitch. Those are your 3 Stanford base runners. It's been just 2 over the minimum faced by this Duke pitching crew. Duke pitching crew struck out 3. They've walked 2. No runs, no hits given up so far by the Blue Devils. Low and in to Somm. Nice pitch, though. Nice tantalizing inside pitch. And it's 1-2. Rolled foul down the third baseline. First meeting ever between Duke and Stanford. First ever home ACC game for the Cardinal. Stanford made a statement, their first ever ACC series at North Carolina. They came back on Friday to win 13-9 and then won 7-0 on Sunday. 1-2 pitch popped up. It's the second baseman who steps back, Berger. He makes the grab. There's 2 outs. And Jimmy Nadai steps into the box, rolled out to short with runners at first and second to end the first inning. Cold night here at Sunken Diamond. Again, the ball's just not going to carry much. So I think it's going to be a hard night to score for both of these teams. It's just so odd and to look out to the outfield fence and see the ACC logo here at Stanford. It is just a jam-packed Friday night. Men's volleyball is playing in Burnham Pavilion. Tennis was playing SMU at the new tennis facility. Maples Pavilion has a gymnastics meet. It's high and it's 2-0. Behind us at Kerrigan Stadium, women's lacrosse team is off to a great start. They defeated Virginia Tech, I think it was 20-3. Strike called. It's 2-1. And with the spring sports in full swing and some of the winter sports winding down, it is so much action here on the farm. I think there's a softball tournament going on as well at Stanford Stadium with the softball field being renovated beyond the left field fence here at Sunken Diamond. 2-2 to Nadai. 3-2. We'll do 3-2 again. Nadai sharply hit off of the glove of Miller. Nothing he could do there. So they're going to rule that an error. That was hit hard, but it went right to the glove of Miller. And Stanford still looking for their first hit. They don't really care about that. They want their first run. And Brady Reynolds came into tonight slugging .691, 5 home runs for the right fielder. Sophomore from Bakersfield takes the first pitch for a strike, and it's 0-1. $19 pitches in the inning for Nard. Low and in. Reynolds made a spectacular catch in not just the first inning, the first batter of the game. He just robbed Wallace Clark of a base hit to lead off this game. Chopped over to the right side. That's the shortstop. And Wallace Clark, is that his name? Right on cue, steps on second base for the fielder's choice. And the inning is over. So 1 error, 1 left. After 4, Duke 1, Stanford nothing. 1-0 Duke. Start up the 5th inning here at Sunken Diamond. Tim Swartz with you. Tomorrow we'll be back at it at 2. Sunday at 1. First ever meetings between Stanford and Duke in the history of their baseball programs. Pop up. Left side. Clark, the shortstop, is way out there. Or pardon me, Becerra, the shortstop, is way out there to make the catch. There's 1 out. And Timo Becerra with the putouts. Scott's at 67 pitches. There is nobody's throwing in the Stanford bullpen, but there are some people stretching and kind of maybe in phase 1 of throwing. Not actually throwing the ball, but phase 1 of getting ready to throw the ball. Jake Hyde tripled and scored in the 3rd inning. That's the only run of this game. Reynolds, the right fielder, almost caught it. It was a ball that was in a deep right center field. 1-1. Duke, I mentioned, they've been to the Supers 3 times. They've been to here's the 1-1. That's high. They've only missed the NCAA tournament twice since 2016. They've been to 6 of the last 8. They didn't go to the NCAA tournament from 1961. That was the last time they went to the College World Series, to 2016. 2-1. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. I wasn't a math major, but what is that? 55 years between NCAA tournament appearances for Duke, who since then has become a team that you expect to make the NCAAs. Foul tipped into the glove of Hyde. Strikeout number 6 for Matt Scott. Won the ACC Conference Tournament last year. It's Kyle Johnson. Steps into the box. Caught looking to end the 3rd inning. Matt Scott's faced the minimum in 3 of 4 innings. The only inning where any damage was done was that 3rd inning. First pitch strike in there. That has been a key in tonight's outing. It's 46 strikes on 72 pitches. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. ACC had divisions until this year. They went to one big conference. 16 teams. Everybody will make the ACC tournament, as I was talking about earlier. Double bye for the 1 through 4 seeds. 5 through 8 seeds get a single bye, and it's single elimination. So for teams 9 through 16, if you wanted to win the ACC tournament, you'd have to win 5 games in 5 days. One and 2 to pitch to Johnson on the way. Foul the way. Matt Scott has had an excellent outing after he struggled a bit at North Carolina. Gave up 6 runs, 5 earned, and 3 2/3 last Friday. Ended up getting a no decision. 3-0 record and a 3.43 ERA. The ERA has gone down. 3.16. Still early in the season. ERAs and batting averages can fluctuate greatly. Out off towards the parking lot, 1 and 2. Stanford has 6 come from behind wins this year. They're 12 wins, so they've been in this situation before. Just a 1-run deficit. Neither team has hit the ball well. Swing and a miss. Well, Duke has struggled to even put that on ball. 7th strikeout for Matt Scott. And it's a 1-2-3 fifth inning. Well, Stanford needs to get something going offensively. They have just one, no hits, just one hit by pitch, 2 walks as the Cardinal trail 1-0. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Timo Becerra trying to get things going for Stanford, and he's hit by a pitch. That'll do it. Second time Stanford's had a hit by pitch. The other time it was, if you've been following Stanford this year, no surprise at all. Tatum Marsh, who's been hit by 7 pitches this season. Charlie Bates, the center fielder, comes up, and with Bates' athleticism and his ability to run, for the freshman from across the street, Palo Alto High School, and I think Becerra's a pretty good athlete too. You wonder if maybe with Stanford struggling to get offense going, and the first pitch is a strike from Nard, you kind of wonder if something might be on here from David Esker. Yeah, I throw over to first. I think Duke thought the same thing. Gabe Nard, second full inning of work. A strikeout and a reach on error for Nard in that last inning, pitching-wise. As it's 1-1. Weaver threw an inning. Talon went 2 innings, scoreless and hitless. And Talon struck out 2. So 3 strikeouts for Duke pitching. Throw over to first. It's been a bullpen day for the Blue Devils. Foul ball. Bates. Great speed, has the only 2 stolen bases for the Cardinal this year. Stanford has 2 stolen bases through the first 15 games, second least in the country. Two and 2 count. Lined foul. Stanford has put guys into motion, but just from my extremely amateur baseball knowledge, I thought both times it looked like hit and runs, the way that the guys ran and kind of looked back in to home plate. 2 and 2. Fouled away by Bates. That time, Becerra had kind of a fake jump, kind of hopped up in the air. This one is hit high, deep right field. It's going to stop, and it's going to be caught well in front of the warning track by Johnson. 1 out. Tatum Marsh comes up. And I said it earlier, it is going to be very hard to hit a home run tonight. And there's just moisture in the air. It's freezing. The times the wind has kind of stirred up, it's been towards inside. It's been in from the ocean, which is, if you're unfamiliar with Sunken Diamond, the bay is behind us and the ocean is out towards right field. Just off the inside, it's 1-0. To the number 9 batter, Tatum Marsh, freshman outfielder from San Jose. Marsh, 6'1", 194, went to Valley Christian. Rolled towards the third baseman. Only play for Miller's to first. Becerra gets to second. So it is an out, but again, with how low scoring this game has been and how hard it is to hit the ball tonight, at least advancing a runner in a scoring position isn't a total loss for Stanford. By the way, no action in Stanford's pen. So yeah, I expect to see Matt Scott come out for the 6th inning. I think his pitch count is 75, right around there. Yeah, 77. Nard's first pitch to Haskins, the leadoff batter, is taken for a strike. It's 0-1. Haskins has flown out twice to Gracia, center fielder. One and one to Haskins. Pitch is low to Haskins. Senior. Valley Christian's always been a very good high school to Stanford. Tatum Marshu just grounded out from Valley Christian. Trevor Haskins from Valley Christian, part of the WCAL. It's 2-1, the so-called the West Catholic Athletic League. It's considered by many to be maybe the best baseball high school league. One of the best in the country. And they have fed Stanford players throughout the years. 2-2. Off the inside, it's 3-2. And it's just kind of feeds Division I players everywhere, especially you look at San Jose State, Santa Clara, who Stanford traditionally plays. Oh, he's had a lot of players in the WCAL. 3-2, misses, and Haskins gets to first with a walk. Again, Stanford doesn't have a hit yet. They've had now 5 base runners, pardon me. 2 in this inning, 2 walks in the first. Marsh was hit by a pitch in the third. 6 base runners, I should say, because Nadi reached on an error. The 6 base runners and no hits is kind of hard to do. That's what Stanford's done tonight. Now, Gabe Nard didn't have much issues last inning. It was an error that put Nadi on, but he still retired Reynolds. This inning, a leadoff hit by pitcher for Becerra. Haskins walked. The Duke bullpen is hidden from me behind some trees. So there might be somebody throwing. And there is somebody throwing. And he's going to come into the game. I'll let you know who it is. Just a moment. Runners at first and second. 2 outs, top of the 5th. Duke 1, Stanford nothing. A new pitcher for Duke, Reed Easterly, lefty, 6 foot, 210. Grad transfer from Yale. First pitch to Brendan Larson's a swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. He featured in both games against George Mason. 2 innings in game 1, inning in the third. In game 2, he had a win against Cal. Pitched 3 innings against the Bears. Another Ivy League transfer from Yale. This one softly hit. Left field. It's going to drop. Rounding third, Becerra. He will score. Stanford ties it up at 1. That's the first hit of the game for Stanford, and it came at exactly the right time. Brendan Larson's 11th RBI of the year. And the Cardinal now want to get greedy. As Rentaro Sasaki coming up into the box. Runners at first and second is Larson at first with the RBI single. Haskins at second. Runs well. Sasaki hits this ball. It's the shortstop going back to his normal position, Clark, crossing the diamond in time. So 1 run, 1 hit, 2 left for Stanford. After 5, we're tied at 1 in the ACC home opener. ACC home debut for the Cardinal. Now Stanford gets one in the 5th. We're tied at 1 as we head to the 6th. Here on ACC Network, Stanford 1, Duke 1. First pitch on the way from Matt Scott. 78th pitch of the game is a called strike, and it's 0-1. Wallace Clark, the leadoff batter for the Blue Devils, came into this game with a .575 on-base percentage. Believe it or not, he's 1 for 2, and that on-base percentage went down. 1 strike pitch. High, pop-up, center of the diamonds. Becerra is calling for it. He's got it. If you get Wallace Clark out 2 out of 3 times, you're doing something right. And Matt Scott has been sharp for the Cardinals. 7 strikeouts. You know, he gave up a triple in the 3rd inning, and that was a play Reynolds probably could have made. And maybe if you asked Brady Reynolds, the right fielder, it hit off his glove and kind of dove for it. Maybe he didn't have the best path to the ball. And maybe you asked him, he probably thinks he should have caught it. And that's really where the 1 run came from for Duke. Wallace did have an RBI double to knock in Hyde, who had that triple. Jake Berger, first pitch he takes high and away. It's 1-0. Stanford and Duke had never played each other before. Stanford's never played Boston College, Georgia Tech, Louisville. Other ACC teams they had never faced off with. Georgia Tech will come here to Sunken Diamond first weekend of April. Strike called. It's 1-1. Cardinal are not slated to face Louisville. They might face them in the ACC tournament. All 16 teams will make it. 1-1. And it's 1-2. Yeah. Uh-oh. Adam Dowdy thought there was 2 strikes, and he had an emphatic called strike 3, but it was 1-2. It was 1-1 then. Now it's 1-2. All right. Now let's see if Matt Scott can do it again. Get the double punch out. Here's the 1-2. Pop up. It'll be in play. Not an easy play for Haskins. Becerra tried to help him out, and then Haskins was able to make the grab in foul territory. There's 2 outs. Stanford has also never faced Pitt. Cardinal are not slated to face them. They're not supposed to play Virginia Tech. They will go to Virginia. That'll be their next road trip. They'll go to Charlottesville, play a 3-game set with the Cavaliers. Next week, they'll host California and then play a Monday midweek game on the 24th against San Jose State. Ben Miller, number 3 batter, came into the weekend 10 home runs in 71 at-bats. He's 1 for 2 with a single. It's 1-0. Here's the 1-0. Fouled straight back by Miller. A bunch of these Duke players, including Miller, graduated from Ivy League schools. And, I mean, if you love school, you go to an Ivy League school, you go to Duke. Not a bad place to go to grad school at all. It's beautiful in Durham, North Carolina. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. In a lot of ways, Stanford joins the ACC, and Duke is very much a like-minded university. The other side of the country. They've excelled at athletics, particularly basketball. One and two. Swing and a miss. That is the 8th strikeout for Matt Scott, as the Stanford right-hander has tossed a gem. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 3 hits through 6 innings. And we'll see if he comes out for the 7th. He's only at 87 pitches. 1-1 between Stanford and Duke. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Now Stanford finally broke through in the bottom half of the 5th with a 2-out single from Larson. A first hit of the game for the Cardinal. First RBI of the game. And here they go with Charlie Somm to lead off the bottom of the 6th for the Cardinal Rocket catcher. Drills this ball deep left field. It is way out of here. 4th home run of the season for Somm. And Stanford takes their first lead of the game, 2-1. I said it'd be hard to hit a home run tonight, and Somm absolutely unloaded on that one. I just took a fastball middle in and drilled it. Now Stanford had not. Gnadai takes the first pitch off the inside, and it's 1-0. 4th home run of the year for Somm. In his Stanford career, home run number 12. He has flashed some power over the years on the farm. Got 8 extra base hits now in 58 at-bats with the 4 home runs and the 4 doubles this year. Slugging percentage over 500, inside out. Gnadai lines it into right field for a base hit. Well, Stanford through the first 19 plate appearances of this game had no hits. And now they've got hits in 3 of their last 4 at-bats. You figure maybe Reynolds, the left-handed batter, might be Reed Easterly's, maybe his final batter he faces. Lefty on lefty here. Becerra righties on deck, and then Bates a lefty in the hole. But if you're Duke, you can't mess around right now. It's danger time for the Blue Devils. One in the 5th, one in the 6th. Stanford leads 2-1. Fastball low and away, and it's 2-0. Foul ball off the hands of Reynolds. 2-1. Line drive, fouled off again. Almost the same spot by Reynolds. 0 for 2, struck out swinging in the 2nd. It's Easterly's the 4th pitcher for Duke. Scott, I think Scott's going to come back out for the 7th for Stanford. I think he just has 87 pitches. And for Duke, it's been kind of a bullpen game. Weaver threw an inning. Talon 2. Gabe Nard, the Nard dog, ended up giving up a run in an inning in 2/3. Slider low and away. Full count. Gnadai has attempted has been caught stealing 3 times. Wonder if he'll be off here. He won't. Fouled away by Reynolds again. that one was fouled away by Reynolds. No. No. Well, I think Duke's going to argue this. It hit something, and Duke kind of thinks maybe that he swung, and the umpires are going to talk about it. So for the moment, it's a hit by pitch. But if he swung and got hit by the pitch, that's a strikeout. And they will review the previous play. That's a big call. It would be runners at first and second and nobody out for Stanford. And if it's called a strike and a swing, it would be a runner at first and an out. Bottom of the sixth inning, Somm hit an absolute moonshot to left fields to open up the inning. By the way, according to the Stanford analytics department, that was a 410-foot home run from Somm to left. So again, it was a 3-2 count. Reynolds was hit by the pitch, but I thought that he had maybe swung. And we're just told now we're just told up that the call stands. So basically the language that we get from the umpires is that they just didn't have enough evidence to overturn the call. So those stands, and I was about to say, it is important to note, hit by pitch was the call on the field. So the Duke bench not happy with that. Runners at first and second, nobody out for Stanford. And Timo Becerra, for the moment, facing Easterly. I'm looking at the Duke bench. There's action in the Duke bullpen. And Easterly has struggled in his appearance. He's faced 5 batters. 4 of them have reached. 2 singles, a home run, and a hit by pitch. And he's technically given up 1 run, but one of the runners that he inherited scored. Becerra shows a bunt, fouls it off. You kind of wonder here, too. Normally, you kind of play for the big inning, but within a 1-run game and just the way this game is felt and the way that Scott's pitching for Stanford, and Becerra, a sacrifice bunt wouldn't be the worst thing in the world here to put runners at second and third. Oh, nice try to pick play. Shortstop Clark tried to catch that eye sleeping. There's the first and second. Here's the pitch. And it's high and away. 1-1. Interesting strategy here. Look like Hyde, the first baseman, is charging hard. But Miller at third is kind of staying at home. And the shortstop Clark is staying at second. So in this scenario, you would need Easterly, the pitcher, to kind of cover the right side of the mound from his perspective. As Becerra, that was not a great bunt. It's fouled off, and it's 1-2. So 2 bunt attempts, both fouled off by Becerra. 1-2 pitch. Becerra bunts it in play. Great bunt with 2 strikes. And to throw to first from Hyde to Burgers in time. But I like that. 2-strike bunt from Becerra. Nadi gets to third. Reynolds to second. And Charlie Bates, the center fielder, with a chance here to give Stanford some breathing room. I think this will be the last batter for Easterly, lefty on lefty. Infield comes in for Duke. Fly ball scores a run. A base hit scores 2. First pitch, off speed. Bates was on it as he fouled it back. One to Bates. Turns it second and third. Here's the pitch. Fouled straight back, 0-2. Easterly getting ahead in the count early. Now they'll put 3 to the right side. They'll shift it. This is drilled into right field. It bounces in front of Johnson. 1 run will score. They hold the second runner. It's an RBI single for Bates. And Stanford leads 3-1. Nadi scores. Reynolds got the stop sign. Johnson, the right fielder, has an excellent arm. And the Cardinal take a 3-1 lead. 2 runs here in the bottom of the second. Bottom of the 6th, pardon me. Tatum Marsh into the box. They'll keep Easterly out there. One of the Duke staffers came out for a moment. It was just to kind of give instructions. So corners in, middle infield at double play depth. Marsh showed a bunt, pulled it back, strike called. And maybe a safety squeeze there, potentially. Was on. Oh, 1 to Marsh. Valley Christian product out of San Jose. Shows bunt again. Pulls it back. 1-1. A lot of action here in the bottom of the 6th. It started with a Psalm 410-foot home run. One pitch. Again, a bunch shown by Marsh, and that's high. 2-1. Well, sometimes you have a base open, you want to walk somebody. Not here. Not with a chance to load the bases and potentially blow this game open in the bottom of the 6th. Two and 1 count. Throw to third. I don't know if I've ever seen a left-handed pitcher throw a pickoff move to third base. Remember they used to have that fake third, throw to first move in Major League Baseball? Runners off. Marsh bunts. Here comes the runner from third. Reynolds scores. Everybody's safe as Marsh gets to first and Bates gets to second. Just pandemonium out there for Duke as Marsh kept showing bunt. Stanford sent Bates on the pitch, and it ends up being an RBI single, and Stanford leads 4-1. And now we'll have a new pitcher. Well, the Cardinal bats, which were totally dead through 4 2/3, have come alive to end the 5th and here in the 6th. 4-1 Stanford. Runners at first and second. New pitcher coming out. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Now Stanford 3 runs here in the bottom of the 6th, and they can get greedier. Up 4-1. New pitcher for the Duke Blue Devils. Edward Hart, 6 2/3 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and only 2 hits given up by Hart. He has not given up a run yet. 6'5", 235 junior from San Antonio, Texas. It's Trevor Haskins, the right-handed batting leadoff man for the Cardinal, 0 for 2 with a walk. Stanford, through 19 batters, had not registered a hit. That was through the first 2 times through the lineup, and Haskins' last plate appearance where he walked. 1 ball pitch. This is lined to left field for a base hit. Bates had to hold at second, and he ends up stopping at third. Had to freeze at second. He holds at third. Marsh goes to second, and Haskins, now the last 9 batters for Stanford, the first 19 plate appearances, no hits. Last 9 batters for Stanford are technically 6 for 7 because you have a hit by pitch and a sacrifice bunt in there. So the last 9 plate appearances for Stanford, 7 have reached safely and 1 was a sacrifice. Bases are loaded for Larson. First pitch is low and away, and it's 1-0. First game of 3, and Duke has had to have a bullpen game. Swing and a miss at a changeup off the outside. It's 1-1. Reed Easterly ended up being 2/3 of an inning, 5 hits, and 3 runs for now. The runners at second and third are his responsibility. Ooh, that was a wicked pitch. And it's 1-2. This has been a long 6th inning. Stanford does not mind that. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Lefty on lefty, 2-2, called strike 3. That was a huge second out of the inning for Duke, because I think the Blue Devils are starting to wonder when they would get another out. Rintaro Sasaki, 0 for 2 with a walk, the 9th batter of the inning for Stanford. Over to second. That was a bit odd. Marsh is in there easily. And Bates on that line drive single from Haskins had to freeze at second base, or Stanford would have gotten a 5th run. Asake, he was looking to send that one into the atmosphere. He hasn't had a home run yet. He hit over 100 as a high schooler in Japan. Obviously a lot of hype around him coming here to the farm. Low and away, it's 1-1. Preseason National Freshman of the Year from Baseball America. A lot of expectations on Rintaro's shoulders. 1-1. Fouls that one off. 140 career home runs in Japan in high school, the country record 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Sasaki drills this ball off of the umpire, and that's going to probably save Duke a run, as trying to score from second was Marsh, and he is tagged out of home plate. Now, I think it's a dead ball, right, if it hits the umpire. So Stanford will get an RBI, and Sasaki gets a single. They'll send Marsh back to third base. Well, Duke, they're going to complain about this a bit, but they're lucky. As that ball went in the outfield, it was definitely going to be 2 runs. That ball, pardon me, didn't hit the umpire. It definitely would have been a 2-run single. Charlie saw him maybe when was there still light when he hit that home run? It feels like it. And now he comes up for the second time in the 6th inning. He lit off the inning with a 410-foot home run off of Easterly. And Somm hits one high, but not far. It's behind first base. Hyde makes the grab, and the inning is over. So ends up being 4 runs, 6 hits, and 3 left on base. Stanford has got some breathing room. They lead 5-1 as Matt Scott looks like he'll be replaced. And a new pitcher on the way for Stanford in the 7th. New pitcher for Stanford. It's the right-hander Trevor Moore, 6'1", 218 from Golden, Colorado. Went to Mullen High School. Moore, 1-0 record. It's his 6th appearance. 16 strikeouts and 12 2/3. That's a 4.26 ERA. AJ Gracia, the first batter. Gracia. Well, they're going to say that Moore maybe went to his arm, so that's a ball. It's 1-0. There's a strike called. By the way, what a performance from Matt Scott. 6 innings, 1 run earned, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, and 1 walk against the team that draws the 5th most walks in the NCAA. 1 and 2. The 1 run he gave up, Hyde tripled in the 3rd inning, and that was a ball that went off the glove of Reynolds. That wasn't an easy play, but I think Reynolds could have made the play. So it was a dominant performance from Scott. He threw 87 pitches, 58 strikes. 1 and 2 pitch, rolled over. Jimmy Nada got it. And over to Sasaki for out number 1. Stanford leads Duke. Tyler Albright, Jr. from Greensboro, North Carolina. Swing, and did not get contact on that. By the way, kind of fun tonight. The Cubs and the Dodgers will lead it off in terms of Major League Baseball in the Tokyo Dome this weekend. But Cubs are playing an exhibition game that's about to start in the Tokyo Dome. I actually went to the Tokyo Dome once, 2019, for a vacation in Japan. But beautiful place. Maybe my favorite place. My favorite places to ever watch a baseball game. Nico Horner on the Cubs, former Stanford shortstop. Don't see him in the lineup today. He is part of the giant spring training style bench for Chicago tonight. 2-2. Swing and a miss by Albright. First strikeout for Moore. And Nico Horner grew up in Oakland, came across the Bay, was an excellent player for Stanford, and he didn't play in the minor leagues very long. Say it was maybe his second full professional year before he made his major league debut with the Cubs. Back in 2019. Ben Rounds takes the first pitch high and away. It's 1-0. Nico's been mostly a second baseman in Chicago. And for you fellow stat nerds out there, 3.7 WAR last year. 2023 won a Gold Glove and a 5 WAR and a 4 WAR in 2022. One of the best second basemen in the National League. Low and in. To Rounds, who's 0 for 2. Yeah, Nico only played 98 games in the minor leagues, which is kind of unheard of. I mean, you normally play a lot more than that. In fact, it was his first full year in professional baseball. He made his major league debut, and he really hasn't gone back down to the minor leagues. Played 3 years with Stanford. Hit .345 his senior year. Strike 2 on Rounds. I think Adam Dowdy, for a moment, stepped back, and he punched somebody out earlier on a second strike. He almost did it there again. Off-speed pitch, never really came through for Moore. Swing and a miss. Rounds is strikeout victim number 10 for Stanford pitching. Scott with 8 strikeouts, Moore now with 2. Cardinal lead 5-1 in their ACC home debut. We're stretching here at Sunken Diamond. That's the defensive changes for Duke. Ben Rounds, the designated hitter, is now in left. Kyle Johnson, the right fielder, is now pitching. And Albright, the left fielder, moves over to right. So Duke giving up the DH. As he was an All-American freshman last year as a two-way player. Kyle Johnson, 9.98 ERA this year. He's made 4 starts, 15 strikeouts, and 15 1/3 innings. He has struggled with that, his command. It's 2-0. Johnson, 7 walks. And he has yielded 6 home runs in 15 innings. Jimmy Nadai leads it off for Stanford after that 4-run 6th inning. Could have been worse, too. Stanford left him loaded. Two and 1 pitch, high. Fastball that Nadai swings through. Pitching. Nadai, second baseman, is talking about Nico Horner. I mean, pretty incredible. 98 games in the minors before he made it to Major League Baseball. 2-2 pitch is popped up. That's fouled away. Nico's senior year at Stanford 2018, or his junior year, I should say, his final year at Stanford. Cardinal were a national seed, and they got upset by Cal State Fullerton in the regionals. That was the first year for David Esker, after he was the coach of Cal for a long time. There was a few years where Cal had the most Major League Baseball players of any university. 3-2, and David Esker known for his development of players. And Cal, the 2013 Cal season really is one of the all-time years in college baseball history. Fly ball center field, it's going to hang up, and Gracia collects it. That is now 1 for 4. And Cal had announced that they were going to eliminate a few varsity sports, including baseball. And David Esker coached that 2013 team thinking, this is the last year in Cal history. Cal wasn't expected to do much, and they ended up going to the College World Series. Brady Reynolds, sophomore outfielder from Bakersfield, 0 for 2. Strikeout, ground out, and hit by pitch. 1-0 pitch, low and away, and it's 2-0 to Reynolds. Stanford sent up 10 batters last inning. If you send up 10 batters, you can score between 4 and 7 runs. Stanford scored 4. Johnson's pitch paints the outside for a strike. It's 2-1. Strike called on the outside. 2-2. Johnson, the 6th Duke pitcher. Weaver, Talon, the Nard Dog, Easterly Hart, and now Johnson, who is the first utility freshman All-American for Duke since Marcus Stroman back in 2010. This is kind of the golden age of Duke baseball. They've been to 6 of the last 8 NCAA tournaments after they missed the NCAAs for 55 years. 3-2. That is off the outside. Reynolds, with all the room here at Sunken Diamond, was jogging down, kind of looking back, seeing if there's maybe a chance to get the seconds. I mean, there's more foul ground here than some major league ballparks. Timo Becerra comes into the box. Becerra had a sacrifice bunt with 2 strikes in the 6th inning with runners at first and second. I mentioned earlier, there's 299 Division I baseball programs. Stanford, I don't know this for sure, but I've been told by some, and people that have been in a lot of different places, that this is maybe the most foul ground, kind of like the Coliseum, the Oakland Coliseum was back in the day, before the A's were ruined and moved to Sacramento. It's funny watching John Miller, the Giants announcer. I don't know if he was doing it intentionally or unintentionally. Kept saying Oakland, because the A's want to be known as just the Athletics now, not Sacramento A's, the Oakland A's, the soon-to-be, we think, maybe, Las Vegas A's. They just want to be known as the Athletics. Off goes runner at first. This one's chopped down the third baseline. Miller snares it. Tough throw to first, not in time. An infield single for Becerra. And, well, that was kind of lucky in a way for Stanford, because I think Miller on that play might have only had a chance at second, but with Reynolds off with the pitch, he had no chance at second. Now Cardinal can blow this one open. Runners at first and second and 1 out for Charlie Bates. RBI single in the 6th. Increased the Stanford lead to 3-1. One in the 5th, 4 in the 6th for Stanford, looking to add to the lead. Nice curveball from Johnson. It's 0-1. So Johnson came from right field into the pitching spot. Albright from left to right. Rounds from DH to pitcher. Here's the pitch. Curveball. Oh, that one. That's probably the top of the strike zone. There's some moans from the Stanford fans here. Some groans as well. 2-strike count. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Bottom of the 7th. And bounces off the outside. First ever ACC home game for Stanford. First ever matchup with Duke. That curveball did not come down. Johnson. 2-2. I mentioned it earlier, Stanford hasn't played a handful of teams in the ACC, including Virginia. They'll travel to Charlottesville in a couple of weekends. 3-2. Cal at home next week. Stanford never faced off with BC, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Louisville, Georgia Tech, who Stanford will face off with. 3-2. Called strike 3 on the outside. Bates threw the bat, thinking, yeah, that one looked outside to him and maybe to me as well. 2 outs. Jacob Marsh, who drilled an RBI single in the 6th, comes up to bat. That's just off the inside, looking maybe a cutter from Johnson or a four-seamer. Duke has used 6 pitchers. You want to avoid that in any game, but especially Friday night of a 3-game set. One 0 pitch. Drilled deep left field. Back to the track, to the wall, and it's caught. Rounds, kind of as he bumped into the wall, caught that one. In a day game, a warmer night, that's a home run, and it's probably 8-1 Stanford. Instead, it's a long out. Cardinal lead 5-1 as we go to the 8th. Stanford as we start the 8th. Making Winslow the catcher. First pitch swinging. Easy out. Caught by Reynolds. Winslow, he's retired on 1 pitch, and he's 0 for 3. Tim Swartz with you. We'll be back at it tomorrow. 2 o'clock start on Saturday. The scheduled pitching matchup. Andrew Healy, who's 1-1 with 7.27 ERA, is slated to go for Duke with Christian Lim, 1-2 with a 7.13 ERA for Stanford. First pitch fastball to Hyde is off the outside for Moore. Just the second pitcher Stanford's used tonight. Duke has used 6. Matt Scott went 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Called strike on the outside. 1-1. Yeah, got away for Moore. Mentioned it is a jam-packed afternoon and night here at Stanford. Gymnastics going on at Maples Pavilion. Men's volleyball at Burnham. Tennis at the new tennis facility. Kagan Stadium had lacrosse. Stanford Stadium is the home of Stanford softball this spring. Has a tournament going on. Stanford, their Smith Stadium beyond the left field fence is being redone for that excellent softball program. 3-1. Swing and a miss from Hyde. In both Stanford baseball and softball have been to the College World Series over the last few years. Stanford went to 3 straight in baseball. In Omaha, the Women's College World Series. In Oklahoma City, the Stanford softball team has been there. High fly ball, deep left field. It continues to carry, and it's caught by Marsh at the wall. Hyde now 1 for 3. That one was just backspinned, and it just kept going and going. Kyle Johnson, who is technically the pitcher now. Well, not technically, he is the pitcher. He was the right fielder. Comes to bat. Ricky Henderson throws left-handed, bats right-handed. As here's the first pitch to Johnson, Northern Virginia native, swung on and missed. You don't often see guys that throw left-handed and bat right-handed. More so, you'll see guys that throw right-handed, like Mintaro Sasaki, and hit left-handed. 0-2 count to Johnson, who's 0-for-2, and he's 0-for-3 with 3 strikeouts. The Stanford looking to add some insurance, up 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Johnson's first pitch of the 8th, off to Haskins. His second pitch of the 8th, off. He had been the Friday starter, Kyle Johnson, who started tonight in right field. 3-0. This is why he's just been command problems have just hurt him. He's given up 6 home runs coming into tonight in 21 innings. Strike called, it's 3-1. Haskins, 1-for-3 with a walk. Off his fists, and he just hangs up long enough for Clark to camp underneath it. 1 out. And Larson comes up. Larson got Stanford on the board with a single in the 5th. First pitch is high and away. He's 1-for-4. Ground out, double play, RBI single, strikeout looking. It's off the outside. It's 2-0. Swing and a miss. It's 2-1. Three and one offering. Ripped back by Larson. From the Sacramento area, Rockland, 355 batter. Has 11 RBI on the year. Another rip back by Larson. Hit sharply, but right at the center fielder, going back a few steps. Grasa, and it's out number 2. Rentaro Sasaki. One for 3 with a walk and an RBI single in the 6th. 317 average. No home runs, 14 RBI. Another guy talking about the pitcher. Johnson throws left-handed but hits right-handed. Sasaki, the batter, hits left-handed but throws right-handed. There have been a lot of guys over the years that have thrown right-handed or switch hit or maybe batted left-handed. Not too many guys who have thrown left-handed and batted right-handed, like Johnson, the pitcher. 1 and 2. And the best example I could think of, there's probably a lot of them that are a lot better. Or not a lot better, but there are others. Was Ricky Henderson, who we lost last month. Oakland native. All-time steals leader in Major League Baseball. That's one of those records that I don't think anyone's going to come close to, maybe in forever. I mean, the way the game's being played, from the Major League level on down. You talk Stanford as a team has 2 steals this year. 3-2 to Sasaki. And he foul tipped that one. Oh, that one hit Winslow, maybe in the place you do not want the ball to hit you. And Sasaki just got a small piece of that. And Winslow, they caught that one in unfortunate spot. Full count, 2 outs, nobody on. In the pitch. Sasaki hits one into center field. And that is a fly ball out. 1-2-3 inning. 9th inning coming up. Stanford up 5-1. Welcome back for the 9th inning. Wallace Clark, the leadoff batter for Duke. Leading off. Stanford's faced just 3 more than the minimum. I mean, this Cardinal pitching tandem, Matt Scott, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, and now Trevor Moore, it's his 3rd inning. He's in line for a save. Off the outside. It's 1-1 to Clark, who came in with a .575 on base percentage. Stanford's held him to 1 for 3. And an RBI double. 1-1. Flied foul. 2 o'clock tomorrow, 1 o'clock Sunday. We'll have all the broadcasts for you on ACC Network Extra. First ever meeting between these 2 teams. Duke came here on Wednesday. 2-2. Now 3-2. Wednesday was a miserable weather day in the Bay Area. It was just pouring. It rained a ton today as well. Thankfully, it cleared up for this one. High, lazy fly ball. Reynolds under it, can take a moment, can take 2 moments, can take 3, and makes the grab. By the way, Aiden Keenan is the new pitcher for Stanford, so Moore ended up going 2 innings. He would have gotten a save if he would have stayed in for another inning. And 2 scoreless innings now. Keenan try to close out. It is a non-save situation. I always thought saves were such a kind of meaningless stat. Pop-up. Foul territory. Long run for Haskins, and that's going to hit off of the visitors' dugout down the 3rd baseline. But today will not count as a save. And I say it's a meaningless stat because let's just say Stanford was up, there's a run rule now, but let's say they were up 10-1 when Moore came in the 7th. If you just throw the last 3 innings, you get a save. You can come into a game, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, nobody on, 3-run game, get 1 out, 1 pitch, you get a save. This one is drilled by Berger, deep right center field, way back there, and it's off the wall. Well, Jake Berger, that's his 7th double of the year, and he hammered that ball. You know, I was mentioning earlier that there's a lot of moisture in the air. If you see the lights here at Sunken Diamond, you can kind of see the precipitation, the marine layer. It's cold, and on a day game, I think tomorrow or Sunday, that ball's gone. Well, Ben Miller, speaking of home runs, he's hit 10 this year. Stanford's held him in check, 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a single. Pitch from Keenan, low and away, and it's 1-0. Both these teams 2-1 in the ACC. Not an easy league to be in. 13 of the 16 teams in least receiving votes. And by Clemson and FSU are in the top 5 of most of the polls. Miller, a hooking line drive that hangs up for Bates in center field, who got a good jump on it. It's 2 outs. I mean, that ball was tattooed, and that is a very loud out. AJ Gracia comes up. Number 1 goal is just get on base. First pitch fastball off the outside. It's 1-0. Stanford 1 out away from a 13-3 start, their best start since 2021. 1-0 pitch. Low. 2-0. Strike called. 2-1. Foul ball. And Duke's down to their last out and last strike. And the faithful rise here at Sunken Diamond. Loud foul ball. Gracia, the final hope, 0 for 2 with a walk, and he was caught stealing in the 2nd inning. Just a seed by Somm, who hit a 410-foot home run to give Stanford the lead, to lead off the 6th inning. Called strike 3. Right here, final game totals and numbers. For Stanford, 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left 10 on base. Stanford could have scored more. Duke, 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error. They only left 3 on base. Stanford only faced 4 more than the minimum. Matt Scott gets the winner. He's now 4-0. Scott, 8 strikeouts in 6 innings, gets the win. Reed Easterly takes a loss. Gave up 4 runs. He's now 2-1. 1 home run. It was Christian Somm, his 4th of the year. And the game was played in 2 hours and 55 minutes with the win. Stanford's now 13-3 overall, and they are now 3-1 in the ACC with the loss. Duke falls to 12-7 overall and 2-2 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Well, a reminder, our next broadcast is tomorrow, 2:05. Stanford and Duke will meet for the second time in their school's histories. It'll be Andrew Healy, who is set to go for Duke against Christian Lim of Stanford. Well, for our entire GoStanford.com and ACC Network Extra crew, my name is Tim Swartz. Once again, the final, Stanford 5, Duke 1.